Hi, Mike. I heard it was your birthday last week. Did you get any nice birthday presents?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I did, and an unusual one from my brother.
Nice. Oh, really? What was that?
Well, he gave me a copy of a newspaper that was printed on the day I was born.
Huh.
It was really strange to read what was happening then, especially to see the old ads and the prices of different things.
Right. What happened all those years ago?
It's a long, long time ago, but not much happened on the day I was born, because usually it's right around Labor Day. So, but it got me thinking about the difference between newspapers then and now.
Huh.
I mean, now we have millions of people being able to write all different kinds of things on blogs, social media,
Right.
news sites.
Of course.
Whereas a few years ago, blogs were just starting. And
Well, wait a minute. What do you, I wonder if that's a real difference between then and now.
what do you mean?
Well, then we had actual trained professional journalists whose jobs it was to report the news, and not only to report it, but oftentimes to investigate it as well. I'm thinking of particularly the Watergate case with two famous journalists, Woodward and Bernstein.
But doesn't that still happen now today?
It's nice to think so, but somehow I doubt it. News these days seems to be pushed in front of you very quickly, then easily forgotten as the next news story breaks.
Well, I think a perfect example of that would be in Taiwan. When we watch television news in Taiwan, if there's some kind of a scandal, then perhaps we hear about it for one day and then it disappears. And then they move on to the next world-shattering event.
I know exactly what you mean. Not only that, but some of the news is just nonsense or advertising, or just someone's personal opinion. It's difficult to tell the difference. It is easily possible to create and spread virally content that appears reliable, but is not.
Have you ever thought about being a journalist?
No, not really. But I think you know that I do post things online, like on Facebook. I repost
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
news, and I have retweeted quite a bit news stories.
Well, if you're retweeting, isn't that just sort of repeating or recycling what someone else has already said or written? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not.
Well, I completely agree, especially in this post-fact era. Now, yeah, if you're careful, and I check the news sources and information, and I try to decide if it's real or not, of course, before I retweet it.
Right, so, now it's kind of interesting because we have fact checkers who are always checking the politicians.
Sure.
But I think we need to have fact checkers checking the fact checkers as well.
No, you're absolutely right.
But I guess that's what makes a good citizen journalist, right? You check your sources. There's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of BS kinds of things. And for example, a couple weeks ago, I saw a news article about someone claiming that his special honey was a cure for cancer.
Everybody loves honey. Wait a minute, what?
Right. Usually we say no money, no honey, right? But in this case, that's right. Apparently he was saying he had a divine honey cancer cure.
Yum. What a load of nonsense. So it seems that we need to develop some new way of recognizing rubbish or alternative facts as it
I totally agree with you, and we've got to be able to ascertain what are true literacy skills, right? It makes it easy to see the difference between fact and fiction and between real news and advertising or even fake news.
Right, and we also need to be careful as the internet and social media, and I'm thinking particularly of Facebook, feed our preference for information that supports our beliefs.
Right, it's another form of censorship.
It is indeed, absolutely.
You know, where we don't, they look at what we like and assume that we like that, therefore they're going to feed us that kind of information and maybe delete other things as well. So,
That's exactly well said. Just wait a minute while I post that on Facebook. Can I quote you personally, or do you prefer to be known as a high-level student?
I prefer to be known as an anonymous source.
Okay, anonymous source it is,
Right.
Mike. Wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. I enjoyed your conversation.
Of course.
Okay, now we have a couple of questions related to the conversation that Mr. Brockman and I just had. My first question would be, what sort of information would you actually post on social media or other forms of, well, what's available on the internet, like Instagram or
Reddit,
any of those?
tweeting. That's a good question. Mine is a follow-up on that question, which is when you read something on the internet, can you be sure that it's factual? Can you be sure that it's a reliable source? Or do you need to fact check and check the quality of the source from which the information comes?
That's correct, because there's a lot of fake news out there. And that seems to be a very popular term nowadays, too. All right?